Hello everybody, this is Someone, and I'm going to be teaching you my current routing for the Breath of the Wild Get Laid Percent category. The reason I wanted to make this tutorial is because prior to me running this category, me and a couple of people that I've come across have had a hard time actually finding any information on routing. Most of what I was able to find were highly edited videos of this run, with nothing going in depth on setups for category specific tricks. I went over to Reddit to ask for information, and they sent me to the Breath of the Wild speedrunning Discord. And there I was told to go to Point Crow's Discord. With Point Crow and Small Ant being the main reasons for me running this category, I knew I wasn't going to get great routing from them, because I had already seen their videos. I am not claiming to have the best routing for this category, so if anyone would like to help me improve upon what I've put together, I would love the help, and I would definitely love to put out updates for any improved routes. So without further ado, this is my routing for Breath of the Wild Get Laid Percent. So this run starts off basically identical to the any percent route, with some minor tweaks here and there. You're going to want to beat the plateau as quickly as possible while gathering some supplies for later on. I would strongly recommend watching LimCube's any percent tutorials first because he will explain things much better than I ever could. So I will not be going in depth on the any percent routing for the plateau. So the first thing to note is that this will be much simpler if you have the DLC installed. It's not required, but it is strongly advised. So the first little deviation from the 80% category comes very quickly into the run, almost immediately. So after clipping out of the Shrine of Resurrection, you're going to want to grab as much food as you can. So grab these spicy peppers and all of these mushrooms over here. The reason why we need so much food is because we're going to do plenty of wind bombs in this run. As a quick side note, I see many runners struggle here when stasis launching on this boulder. They crouch to get this angle, and usually run back to stand again, and I see that it sometimes messes with their angle. If you stand here, you won't need to crouch at all to get the angle of the shot that you need to launch upright. Then you just run right up the boulder and unfreeze it. Then you keep following the any percent route until you get to this BTB right here. In any percent, the closer you land to the Magnesis Shrine, the better. But for Get Laid, you want to get the deep forest angle so that you can get these arrows and this torch. I usually try to line myself up right here. I don't use any setups to get into position for this BTB. I stand myself around right here and shoot this spot. I aim here and wait for the Bokoblin to walk over. As he stops, I swing my axe once, and then shield jump, and that should get me into the forest around where I'd like to be. After getting the arrows and the torch, we need to pick up these ice arrows from this chest here. A simple shield jump here will get you to the chest. Next is the reason why I recommend having the DLC to run this category. We will need to grab this chest that contains a ruby. I will explain later why this is needed. All you need to know for now is that you need to pick it up. For the rest of the plateau, you will play it out as normal any percent would, until you get to the paraglider. After obtaining the paraglider, come down and get the stamina vessel here with their spirit orbs. This isn't required, but the extra stamina will be very useful. And here you get a pretty sweet cutscene of Link looking the wrong way. I think it's kind of funny. After gaining control, you need to wind bomb over here to the plateau tower and activate it. The reason why is so that we can activate fast traveling, which we will need to do later. Next, you will need a wind bomb over to the outside of the Shrine of Resurrection to activate this cutscene. The reason we activate this is because it triggers the day and night cycle, which we also need. Once the cutscene is finished, we need to wind bomb back over to the Temple of Time. Once we get here, we will need to set up for probably my favorite BTB of the run. So once we get to the middle of this platform, you must whistle to get this Bokoblin's attention. He may be out of position, so it's important that we whistle here. Once you whistle, jump down to the second ledge and shoot an arrow in this general area. The exact spot isn't very crucial, but we need to shoot around here to get him closer to the actual spot that we're aiming for. Once he stops walking, however, we aim for this small indent on the ground and shoot it. Make this small adjustment down and to the left. It is very subtle, but helps a whole bunch. Once the Bokoblin stops and turns, you need to shield flip and try to activate bullet time very close to when you are about to make contact. This is because we need as much stamina as we can possibly have. This is the best and most consistent setup I've seen for getting to Kakariko as quickly as possible. From here, it all depends on where you land after your BTB. You may not always end up on this mountain, so my best advice is to gather food as you find somewhere to wind bomb over to this mountain. Depending on where you land on this mountain, you can do a couple of things. You may land very close to a few different guardians. If you do, shoot them in the eyes with arrows and try to make some distance. Or parry the lasers if you feel they're being too persistent. Then you want to find a spot to wind bomb and glide yourself down to Kakariko. If you end up by these horseback bokoblins, just stand on this rock and wind bomb over this way and you'll be at Kakariko. After arriving at Kakariko, you're going to want to go talk to Impa. Paya will stop you at the door and talk to you. Just skip through her dialogue. We need to talk to Impa here so that we can activate the quest that lets us light the blue flame in Hateno. Once you go through all of Impa's dialogue, this is why we need the ruby. You come over to the shop and sell it. The reason for selling it is because in order to sleep with Paya, we need to finish all 3 side quests in Kakariko. One of the side quests involves taking a picture of the Great Fairy Fountain. We need to go talk to Pura after lighting the lab's blue flame to get the camera. But we also need 100 rupees to open up the Great Fairy Fountain. After getting the rupees, we come up to the shrine and activate it. Don't enter it, just activate it so that we can fast travel back here after we get to Hateno. You can improvise a couple of wind bombs over here to get here faster, or you can just run if you're not comfortable with doing them. Now comes my least favorite BTB of this run. I mess this up very often and will explain it to the best of my abilities. You stand here and shoot this spot with an ice arrow, and wait for this bokoblin to reach this point. You shoot him with an ice arrow. Sometimes you will alert this bokoblin as well. In that case, freeze him after you freeze the first one. I usually have a better time if I back up a bit. Now you gotta aim at his little booty, and stand. Hold shield, come out of scope, and then shield jump into bullet time. If done correctly, you will fly very quickly over to Hateno. Once here, we need to make our way over to this blue flame. You're going to want to get out your torch and perform blue flame storage or item smuggle, depending on what you call it, to make it so that we can run, glide, and do other actions with our torch lit. If you do not know how to perform this glitch, it is very easy, but I recommend checking out the video New Smuggling Glitch in Breath of the Wild for 100%. By Specs and Stats. I will leave a link to this video in the description. Once we get our flame stored, we come over to this rock, and we wind bomb up here. I usually don't make it up the whole way, so I climb up the rest of the mountain until I get to the top. I light the flame and get the camera room from Pura. You need to take a picture of her and show it to her, then teleport back to Kakariko. After we teleport back, we go open the fairy fountain and quickly snap a picture of it. Along the way you want to grab this cuckoo and drop it in the pen. You need to talk to this guy so that while you're collecting cuckoos, the positions of the cuckoos will not reset. Not activating his quest will reset the positions of them and you'll have to gather them all over again. After activating his quest, we walk over to this guy and show him the picture that we got of the fairy fountain. I find it quickest to rest here at this fire until night for 2 reasons. There's a lady watching your trees that stops you from collecting a cuckoo. At night she is gone, so we can get this cuckoo with no issues. The next reason is so that we can collect fireflies for the final quest. The firefly quest must be done last. It will not activate until you do both the fairy fountain and cuckoo quests first. There are 7 cuckoos to collect. So after waiting until night, we grab this cuckoo and toss it into the pen. We climb this roof and grab this one, and we can toss it in from here. You go up this path and grab the fourth. While coming up this way, you need to grab 5 fireflies. If you mess this up and scare all of them away before you get 5, all you need to do is teleport back to the shrine and they will respawn. After you get them, you come over and you grab this Coco and toss him down here. We walk over to this hidden little guy and toss him to the next one that we just tossed. Then you want to walk over to this last one near the trees that are normally being washed and toss them with the others. Then you just alternate between throwing them all closer and closer to the pen until we get close enough to throw all of them inside. Once you get them all inside, you talk to the owner of the Cocos, who would be walking away or already at the bottom of the steps to Impa's house, depending on how long you take. We collect our reward and finally go back to this lady and set the fireflies free in her house. With the final quest complete, all we need to do is go talk to Paya. Come out and wind bomb over to Impa's house to save a few seconds, and enter the house, talking to only Paya. After you mash through the dialogue and confirm that you will stay the night with her, then boom! You have now completed a run of Get Laid % in Breath of the Wild. I would like to give a huge thanks to Point Crow and Small Ant for inspiring me to do this run in the first place. I would like to thank Limcube for his tutorials and his Get Laid runs that he has up on his YouTube channel. Though his runs are highly edited and not really educational at all, I did pick up some routing tricks from watching him. I would also like to thank my buddy Sprinkles_98 on Twitch for convincing me to make this video. He is an 80% runner who said he'd like to learn this run, so instead of just trying to teach him, we both decided it would be cooler and much more helpful to the community if I made a routing video for everyone to see. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please consider leaving a like, subscribing, and commenting to let me know. You can also follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/somi1. If you find better or more helpful tips for routing, let me know on my Discord. I will leave links to both my Twitch and Discord in the description. And lastly, I would like to give a big thanks to anybody who watched this video. I hope to see you around.